Oh, hi, vlog. Welcome to me in a random playground. You might hear birds around, people around. You might hear random cats fighting with each other. But that's how it is when you're sort of shooting outside. This is the first vlog in a while. I have not been here for a month, which is insane. In all of my 3 years of being on YouTube, I have not gone this long without putting out a vlog. And so if you guys saw, I did 2 YouTube lives, which was sort of like a new thing for me, which I absolutely loved. It was very spontaneous. I'm sorry for you guys, the people that wanted to be a part of it that just sort of didn't make it. It wasn't something planned. It was sort of random. But life has been a bit busy, a lot busy. A lot has been happening. I have a lot of like new job things that are sort of like taking a bit of my mental space. And my youngest sister got married, which is beautiful. And then my grandfather passed away. My eldest sister is going to give birth in a second. And so I think life is sort of, you know, just a whirlwind of busyness. But I wanted to come up here and talk to you guys about something that I think is super important for any adult living in this world, which is to overlook offenses. Not a fun subject, but the reason this came up is that because actually, you know what? I can't see anything. Let's move. But I wanted to talk to you guys about the subject of offense and why we should overlook an offense. Usually in life, that is not the advice that most people would give you. They would say that if someone has offended you, you should hit back, either literally with words, with vengeance. But I think that there is a maturity that comes with, hopefully with age, that you understand when to overlook an offense and how that's beneficial to your life in the long run. So during the last not Facebook Live, during the last YouTube Live that I did, and the one before, people that are not from my channel would come up and say super offensive things. So like, most of you guys know this about me. I don't delete comments. Sometimes YouTube will have trigger words that will delete your comment, but I don't delete people's comments on YouTube unless it's extremely inappropriate towards, I don't know, that they're bullying someone on the channel apart from me. I have decided to put myself out there in the public. I think that that is fair for people to give their opinion, and I believe in free speech. It's the moment that people start to become rude, anti-Semitic, you know, things of that sort of tests where you are within that. And I think that the way that I have learned how to deal with that was not perfect in the beginning. I started this about 3 years ago, and with the war, there came so much more difficulty with people online and their comments. And in the beginning, I would get super nervous. Like my heart would start to beat. You know, they would say something and I would take it sort of personally, or, you know, I would feel bullied or take those accusations and internalize them. And within time, I'm like, God, I can't do this. I'm a person of faith. I believe in God. So I sort of turned to him for help with a lot of things. But I turned to God and I said, God, I need your help. You need to tell me like what to do and how to handle this, because I can't just be on here and take offense and take offense and take offense. Like, that's not going to work. And so he taught me to pray for my enemies. And so I got into the habit of praying for my enemies. And on the keep saying Facebook, on the YouTube Live, there's so many crows here and so many birds. Anyways, enjoy nature with me. But on the YouTube Live, I suddenly had the ability to bless them live. Usually I'll see a comment, I immediately pray for them. They'll never know that I did that. But suddenly when it's live, you have the opportunity, which I was so happy about, because it really does test your heart to see where you're at. And I think, you know, for me as a person that was bullied a lot in my past, that wasn't an easy thing for me to like overlook an offense. You know, people would be very extremely cruel, and I wouldn't know how to deal with it. And so I'm happy to see that nowadays I deal with it differently. But what happens if it's someone that you actually care about? you know, someone that their opinion matters to you, someone that you love, someone that you trust, someone that you aren't expecting to offend you. And that test came to me in a very, you know, big way in the last few years, but also in small ways in the last few weeks, and I'll explain. So, in the last few years, and I won't be able to get into details about it, but um, let's do this. In the last year, I have had an issue with my ex landlord. I have already left that situation, but I'm in a lawsuit with him. At the 27th of this month, I'll be able to finally tell you guys, I think, I'll ask my lawyer what the whole deal was. And I realized that God's justice didn't only rely on the fact that He is just, but justice in my life could be done if I forgave and was forgiven. So if I had any offense in my heart towards my ex-landlord, I had to receive forgiveness for this. If I was offensive towards my landlord, I had to ask God forgiveness for this. He's not a person of reconciliation, so that would be impossible. But I had to realize that if I wanted justice in my life, I had to make sure that my heart was right before God. In the years before that, I had a very, you know, rough childhood in many ways, but, you know, you don't always get along with your parents. I had to forgive my parents for things. You have to forgive friends or so-called friends for things. You have to forgive yourself for things. You have to forgive your government. You know, with the US elections, a lot of people are super angry about the results. Some people are happy about it, but you have to forgive certain people, right? And you know, offense doesn't have to be given for you to actually take offense, because you can be offended by something or someone that meant no offense. And so offense is constantly in our lives, and we have to always choose what of that we take and we sort of are willing to die on the hill of our offense and be like, no, that's not right, and what things we should overlook. And I think that with people in our lives that you know that are, you know, faithful to you, that they're good friends, that they're wanting and willing to grow with you, and that's mutual, I think that there should be a different expectation that we hold from ourselves or towards ourselves and towards them. And there's something that always used to bother me like a lot when people would do something truly offensive towards me and they would just not care. You know, like people that you actually know, they wouldn't have that part in them that says like, oh, actually that was wrong, I should ask for forgiveness. Now I have this one friend, her name is Joanna, and she is a very sensitive like person towards people. Like she's, you know, she's mature, but she has a super soft heart, super loving, and she was always in the habit that if she thought that she said something like unkind, she would immediately ask for forgiveness, even if she just assumed that maybe I took offense or maybe whatever. Like if she said something that she thought could be interpreted even in the wrong way, she would ask for forgiveness immediately. She wouldn't even wait. And I loved that. Never mind that she's like probably never offended me, but the fact that she was willing to do that, like to immediately just say, hey, I'm sorry, or did I offend you? Forgive me. That really strengthened our relationship, at least for me in the long run, because I thought, wow, she knows and she's confident enough in her own self to know that she doesn't mean harm, and that if I am offended, she can talk to me about it, and most likely I'll forgive. So it's a testament to our friendship. That's one. Sorry, I'm moving around so much. The sun is in my eyes. But, and so I thought that that was a really beautiful thing that I try to embrace into my own life. And so if there is an offense that I think that I've offended someone, I try to immediately apologize or seek to see if I've done something wrong. So most people, I think at least, are not like Joanna. Most people will justify what they've done. They don't really care that much if they've offended you. And I think that that's something that you should look at your friendships in life and think, is that a friendship I want to maintain? Is that a friendship that I think is good for me in the long run? I'm good for them in the long run. We're good for each other, because I think that the basis of a good friendship is when you can go through a tough thing and overcome it through forgiveness. And so I've had to look at my friendships in the last few years and think to myself, am I a good friend to other people? Are other people good friends to me? Something came up with another friend maybe a few days ago this friend was really sick, stuck like in a bad situation with their car, and I was trying to offer help, and also they were on very little sleep. I tried to offer help, and they snapped at me, and because I think I was so used to my past that people just sort of like snapping at me, I would my heart became a bit sort of clammed up, but I thought to myself, okay, this person's having a really tough day. I'm just gonna, let them have their tough moment. It came out on me. That's okay. And I chose to overlook an offense. Should you choose to overlook an offense all the time, under every circumstance, especially if it persists and persists and persists? No. That's sort of where I think there should be boundaries in which a person says, wait a second, I understand that you're struggling with something. Guys, I'm going to move. I can't see anything. I'm on the struggle bus. Let's walk. Walk with me. Maybe I'll go over here. Let's see if this works. We're going to talk in the echo chamber. Oh! Did you guys hear that? You heard that. Anyways, it only sounded like it hurt, but it doesn't really hurt. Anyways, that's a bit better, I think. You can see all of my shimmer. Anyways, this person snapped at me, and I overlooked the offense. But if that was to persist, and it would happen again and again and again and again, and I'm sort of like, hey, listen, like, I understand that you're dealing with things, but you need to notice this part, that you don't snap at me, that you need to control or regulate your emotions. Now that hasn't happened again, but if it was to happen again and again, I think I would have had to say something. But I think that within friendships that are long-term in your life, there is a need for a lot of grace, because we're so human. We have so many weaknesses. We will never stop having weaknesses. And I think that that's one of those things that you have to sort of accept. Like, okay, I am bound to disappoint someone, and someone is bound to disappoint me. And what was nice about this situation with my friend is that they immediately called back, like maybe a minute later, and was like, hey, I noticed that I was like snappy at you. I'm sorry. And I appreciated it. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, a lot of people, they don't call back and say that they're sorry, or even when they realize that they did something wrong, they just won't admit it, or they won't say anything, or they'll just sort of dismiss it. And I think that as a person of faith, I think God really, really, really cares for that. When you know that you've done something wrong, then go and ask for forgiveness. But on the issue of overlooking an offense, I think that it's not, the amount of people that actually come and ask for forgiveness is rare. And so there's a huge, huge need within our own individual lives to choose to overlook the offense. And so with my friend, they snapped. I overlooked the offense. I'm like, okay, but you sort of think, how many times in your life do you have to do that? You might have to do that with your bus driver. You might have to do that with your boss. You might have to do that with your parent, with your child, with your friend, with your sister, with your uncle. Like, there's just so many opportunities in a day to be offended and overlook an offense. And I think that oftentimes when we choose to overlook the offense with a lot of grace and a lot of intention, sometimes that person sort of looks at it and they think, oh, actually, yes, I was snappy and I wasn't nice and I can do that better. But if you choose to not overlook the offense and you snap back, or you're mean, or you're angry, or you're way too defensive, then the likelihood of that person being able to come back with an apology or regret is a bit not likely. Like, they'll sort of also clam up, because that's what the heart does. It defends itself. It doesn't want to be wrong. We're not sort of humble by nature. And so this is my challenge for my own self, to not linger over the offenses that are committed against me, because one, it's exhausting. It's often no use, but I think that it's really good advice. It's not my advice. It's something that I took from Proverbs, to overlook an offense. And I think that once we do that more and more, and we're in the habit of overlooking, then I think that our friendships will be stronger, deeper, more long term, and overall our happiness will be salvaged. You know what I mean? It'll be salvaged because I think that that's a tool of maturity that allows you to know which hill you want to die on and which not to die on. Because if I stopped my life for every single time someone offended me, I would be so bitter. I would live my life in complete bitterness. I would not be a happy person. I would always think about what other people have done for me, and believe me, done to me. I was that person. I was that person. It was very hard for me to forgive and very hard for me to be happy. And so this is our challenge of what we can actually do to overlook offenses, and to check to see if that's a possibility in our lives. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I know that's just a random little tidbit of information that I sort of just came up with today because I realized just how much important that is in life. But I hope that I can put out more vlogs that are not just, sitting and talking, because lately that has been my vlog. It's a bit hard nowadays for me to spend 12 hours a week to put out longer vlogs, and these types of vlogs take less time. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for caring. Thank you guys for coming back. If you are new here, then welcome. Feel free to subscribe. If you're new here and you hate me, because I'm Jewish, because I'm Israeli, I don't hate you. I love you. I wish you well. And if you are not new here, so grateful for you. Thank you so much for coming back. And I will see you guys, hopefully not in 4 weeks, but in a vlog very soon. What? What?